Child of the Wolves, Chapter 10, The Hunting Lesson. Within a couple of days, Granite's leg had healed enough for him to put his weight on it without yelping. Snowdrift watched the puppy take several steps, then motioned with her head. Granite did not understand. He stood silently with his head down, watching her. Snowdrift whined and motioned again. When Granite did not move, she trotted in back of him. Nudging the puppy's bottom with her nose, she shoved him toward the entrance. Surprised, Granite crept cautiously through the tunnel and emerged into the late afternoon sun. He stood before the mouth of the den, blinking at the light, and breathed in the wonderful smells of the earth and plants and flowers. He looked around. Steep, rock-ribbed mountains rose on all sides, their tops covered with snow. Below the peaks, the slopes glowed with patches of yellow and blue. Farther down, the bright pink of fireweed spread over the ground, giving way to tall trees near the bottom. Beneath the den, at the base of the hill, stretched a meadow bordered by a swift running stream. Before he could see more, Snowdrift shoved him again. Ignoring the yips of protest, she shoved Granite down the hill, through the brush, and across the meadow. When the puppy reached the stream, she let him rest while she drank. Under her watchful eye, Granite lapped up water until he was no longer thirsty. Then Snowdrift left him on the bank and took several steps into the meadow. She stopped, looked at the puppy, and moved her head. This time, Granite knew what she meant. He scrambled to his feet and pranced after her. They walked upwind through deep grass. Snowdrift put each foot down carefully. As she walked, she stretched her neck high and sniffed deeply, making her nose wrinkle. Despite his sore leg, it was hard for Granite to walk as slowly as Snowdrift. Determined to please the white wolf, he copied her every move. He sniffed hard, but did not know what he was searching for. The scents were all mixed up. Flowers and grass and spruce and cottonwood and willow and birds and mice and even smells from the pack. Snowdrift stopped. She stood silently for a moment, her head cocked to one side, then leaped. Between her paws was a mouse. She waited until Granite had seen the mouse, then she swallowed it. She ran her tongue along her lips and peered closely at the puppy. She motioned with her head. She walked a few more steps, sniffed twice, and looked down at him. She took another step, sniffed again, and again looked at Granite. At last he understood. Snowdrift was teaching him to catch mice. Granite remembered the mice he had tried to catch when he was so hungry, and how his every attempt had failed. He knew that he must watch Snowdrift closely so that he could begin to feed himself. Compared with the scent of other animals, mouse smells are not strong. But after a while, the different odors sorted themselves out, and Granite separated mouse from all the rest. When this happened, he yipped with excitement. At the sudden sound, Snowdrift gave him an affectionate nudge, warning him to be quiet. The next time she caught the scent, she froze. Still as stone, she watched the grass intently. The blades trembled as if a breeze were passing over them. Snowdrift stood up on her hind legs and dropped heavily, keeping both her forelegs stiff and straight. Beneath her paw was a mouse. She tossed it to Granite, and he gulped it down in a single swallow. He was still hungry. It takes a lot of mice to fill the stomach of even a small dog. Snowdrift let Granite try to catch the rest of his dinner. He walked beside her, but he was not as quiet as the big wolf. Once he stepped on a twig that snapped loudly in the silent meadow. Then he knocked a pebble aside and sent it rattling across the ground. At last he moved silently, but he had trouble finding the mouse she had scented. When Granite finally spotted movement, his drop was off the mark. His small paws came down on nothing but grass, and the mouse scampered away to safety. After Granite missed the third mouse, he grew tired. A large white moth fluttered past his nose. Away he ran, all thoughts of the hunt gone. The moth danced in the evening sky just above his head, flitting from one flower to another. Granite snapped at it, but missed. He chased it across the meadow, but it stayed just out of reach. Snowdrift ran after him. When she reached the little dog's side, she bared her teeth. With a jerk of her head, she smacked him with the side of her muzzle. Her long tooth was hard, and the blow hurt. Granite felt ashamed. He had failed at his first task. He hung his head. Snowdrift licked his nose, and he felt better. He nibbled her paw with love, promising to pay attention. Snowdrift resumed the hunting lesson. Granite forced himself to watch the grass closely. He tried hard. The first mouse he spotted got away, and so did the second, and the third, and the fourth. Then it happened. Granite stared at the rustling grass, gave a mighty leap, and landed heavily on the mouse. He caught only one more mouse that evening, but he could tell that Snowdrift was pleased. When the sky grew light and Granite curled up to sleep, his hunger was gone, and he was filled with pride.